Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Cagnina with NinjaTrader. Welcome to our afternoon stream. Appreciate everybody being here today. Before we get to the main event, though, let's take a look at some charts and do kind of a recap of what we're doing heading into Power Hour. The very first chart I just want to show real briefly is the 10-year U.S. Treasury note. I know we've been talking about this a lot lately. We have a daily volume profile over here on the left, and it's picture perfect textbook. If I'm writing a book, I'm going to take a picture of this and put this in the book. It's really a nice Gaussian distribution, point of control right in the middle here. We're not trading too far off of it right now. Earlier, we talked about these particular treasuries falling out of bed a little bit and creating some upward pressure on the 10-year yield, which is still the case. So we'll see what happens there. The pivot's been held nicely, and I talk about this all the time. Pivot on the top, we tagged it once nicely, approximately 9:30 to 10 o'clock candle. S2 at the bottom, we traded through it for just a brief hot minute and popped back up, and we created this nice value area trading for today. We have some call resistance and high vol levels also flanking the action, but really just check out just around the value area here is pretty sweet today. Let's shoot over to the E-mini S&P real quick and check out some power hour stats that we have from our friends at Edgeful. Let's start out with, I got a lot of lines here, guys. Sorry about that. Let me just open this up so you can see it a little bit better. So power hour continuation on a Thursday. So you got to look at this line here that I drew. See this dotted line? This is the open. This is the opening price, this white dotted line here. And so we want to know going into power hour, remember it's the last hour, right? At 3 o'clock, 3 to 4. Going into power hour, we have to decide has it been a green day so far or a red day so far? It's going to be close today. Right now it's a green day, right? So I would measure from where we opened up to where we're trading right now. If we're power hour, and I'd say, okay, it's a green day, but barely. So what happens statistically? And this is a 6 month look back, and the statistics are if green, then it's got 100% history over the last 6 months on a Thursday of closing green and a 0% of closing red. If it's a red day going into power hour, then it's an 81% chance that we're gonna close red on the day, and a 19% chance we're going to close green on the day. How does that help me? Well, let's say we do. Let's say we do close a little bit higher than the open today, so it's a green day, and perhaps there's the ability. If I'm thinking about getting long based on my strategy, I could place a trade there and have relatively tight stop because I know where the open was. That's kind of one possible way you could use that. The other stat is the power hour breakout by weekday. 71.7% chance we will not make a new high of the day during power hour. A 28.93% chance we will make a new high of the day. Alternatively, 82.64% chance that we won't make a new low of the day, and a 17.36% chance that we will make a new low of the day. So new highs and new lows those odds aren't as bad as I've seen on other days in these markets, especially on the new high of the day. And again, it's a tight range today. 57 handles, small range day. Let's go ahead and do the same analysis with the micro Nasdaq really quickly here, because I think when we get to the main event, you're going to see some awesome traders trading this particular marketplace. Let me just move this over again. Statistics are pretty similar, right? Power hour continuation. Remember, you got to find the open. I'll put my crosshairs right there, exactly where we open at 9:30. This is the 9:30 to 10 o'clock candle. And so again, if it's a green day going into power hour, 88% chance we're going to close green, 12% chance we're going to close red. If it's a red day, 87% chance we're going to close red, 13% we're going to close green. Power hour breakout by weekday. Again, not first category, not high, no high of the day made. 75.93% chance, and almost a 20% chance, yes, we'd make a new high of the day. And then a new low of the day, 81.67% of the time, no. 18.33% of the time, yes. And again, this is based on a 6 month look back of stats that Andre and company at Edgeville have secured for us. One last peek at copper. Hopefully, you're looking at the micro copper contracts, and we're going to get to the main event here in a second. We have a really nice technical setup here going into on a daily candle. We have a huge rally in copper. We have a kind of a gravestone doji yesterday with a huge wick at the top of the candle. Big, and this is a bearish reversal pattern. Today, sure enough, we sold off below that kind of magical 5.2 double top level from May of 2024. I threw a fib line in right at the 38.1%, right at that 8 EMA. So really a textbook retracement right now. The $1 million question is this 8 EMA going to hold? And if it does, maybe it's back up toward the target wick, which was the high. So if it doesn't, we could retrace back down to the 50. So we'll see where we close today. Tomorrow's candle is going to be wicked important. All right. Let's get into some power hour trading with our order flow labs professionals. Gentlemen,
Hey
Stowe,
Jim, how's it
Elijah, how
going?
you guys doing?
How's it going?
You
I
guys
don't
are
know.
looking relaxed today. You're
I'm
looking
not a
cool.
professional, Jim.
That should also be noted on my end too.
Oh my gosh. I looked at the show notes. It says NinjaTrader Live professionals coming live to you today. So we gotta
Cool. I'll take it.
I do feel pretty
yeah.
relaxed. We have some I don't know, we have some range to trade today. So that's nice. That's just, anything better than Tuesday. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
there's a good push.
we were talking earlier that you guys are saying like, hey, this is kind of the best trading day of the week so far.
For me, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Monday and
Yeah.
Tuesday were kind of rough with the
Yeah.
low RVol, low volatility. Yesterday we had a little bit of a shift, and I
Something's
did
going on.
not handle the shift that well. So I had a rough day yesterday, but today's been great.
All right.
It's a
Well,
lot of
listen, guys, I'm gonna let you guys do your thing and appreciate you. Best of luck trading on Power Hour.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jim.
What is up, everybody? Um, I'm in a trade real fast, so I'll talk about that. For some reason, all afternoon, this this 210 was invincible, and then also you can see down here. This is we talk about it a lot. This is the 5-minute OR mid. Also, the RTH Open was right there, so kind of MGI City, and this day has kind of turned into this balance that we're rotating around. So just leaning on this low value area and getting some longs off. Right before we came on, I hit this previous day low retest here. Saw it come down in and spike back out. So took a couple off at VWAP here at 070s, and I'm going to peel another one at the pivot and then see how high we can take the other one. So yeah, that's the trade right now. You in this? Are you in this trade too, Elias? I think.
I am. I took a couple of tries at it at 65 and again at 55, and then that sweep came in that took out those lows right at, the prior day low.
Yeah, they slammed it for sure.
And right after that slam, I got in double size, you say.
Nice.
So I took my price is 56, and I took half off at 76, and I'm holding 4, looking for 90 and 120.
Yep, that's about where I'm at too. 120 would be great. There's a little I'll pull this price target down. We can see on the volume profile, if I really zoom in, you can see up here at the IB this little spike. I just try to tuck my profit targets right under those babies and try to get that fill if we can. Yeah, Leo quit this trade a couple times out of spite. I love taking the same trade over and over again. I love it. Nothing makes me feel better. I'll sit and grind the exact same level until it goes for all day if it's working for me.
If it keeps working, yeah.
Also, I don't want to disappoint anybody, but I can't trade the Dow today. I realized I don't have the data feed enabled for the Dow on NinjaTrader, but I will build a YM book over the weekend. And when I see folks next week, we will sling the old man, as I refer to it as. Also, the Dow is not ironically cool. The Dow is just cool, and that's you heard it first.
I've never traded the Dow, so I'll have to take your word for it, Stu.
Well, I don't trade it often, but I do look at it every day. It's pretty rare that I put a Dow trade on.
You used to trade it often though, didn't you?
Yes, yes, I did. It's just too much execution wise to keep track of between ES and NQ. Nice. We got filled on that 82. So perfect. I'm gonna make sure my stop is good here.
I'm still
36.
waiting for a sweep of those prior highs. I want
I'll
to
just
pop into 90 to take one more off.
I'm gonna tuck this stop right underneath all of this bid delta here. If it wants to come back and test those dudes, that's okay. But I'll hide back here. Should be safe enough. This is another day where Job's pivot's in the way, which is, a common occurrence.
Yeah, it could be frustrating for me.
But yeah, I used to trade the Dow, executing on 3 different instruments at the same time. Ended up, eroding my execution edge. So I stopped doing the one that was the least profitable, which was the Dow. But I still, I watch it all the time because if I find that if the Dow and Q are behaving in opposite directions, ES is going to be balanced for that day. And I like to trade the edges on balance days, and that's a good day that I can look at ES and see that NQ and YM are arguing with each other. Is how I think about it. And so ES is in the middle trying to hold everybody together. So it's going to be some balance trades on ES while it could be directional trades on NQ for me that day. Or alternately, if they're all moving in the same direction, that's a very, very good sign that I can, hope for trend continuation and just maybe a broad trend day that day. So, yeah, some buyers are getting happy.
Got my 90.
Nice one.
Let's put potential resistance here from earlier.
Yeah.
Some late buyers.
We're still under that previous week high. So we peaked above that, and then now we basically spent the entire day below it. This is kind of what happened to me in XY on Tuesday, except with a much broader range. It's like they tried to break out, failed, and then now we've just been building volume down here. So I don't know how much faith I have in like a broad continuation higher, but
Yeah,
who
we're coming
knows?
into a kind of a higher time frame LVN for the week at 100. It's also the 5 minute 233 EMA, which I don't use for execution or anything, but I just kind of use that as a reference. It's up
Yeah.
there at 100. Yeah, so I'm not really, I have these runners on. Want to see if we get back up into tag prior day close, maybe get a green close on the day.
Yep. All right, let's go to the chat. How did everybody else do today? How'd the chat do? Good? Great?
If you take the pivot off the charts, does it stop working?
Unfortunately, no. I've tried that.
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
No, part of part of being a trader is you actually control the market with what lines you put on there. So you can move lines around and make resistance if you need to.
That's why Leo used to get so mad at me for having so many lines on my chart because it made the market choppy all the time.
That's funny. No, of course that would be crazy. Do you trade with the same framework for all markets, or would you say the order flow behavior differs between NQES? Well, so I only trade NQES, but watching the have no, I have no Dow order flow, like zero. Um, I have zero. I have even less of an edge than zero on the YM DOM. I have no clue what that thing is doing. No way, no way to read it. Years of looking at it, have no clue. So I just kind of watch volume profile stuff, extremely basic technicals like that. Just long term support and resistances for YM. That's also why I don't really trade it. Is I don't have a scalping edge, and I'm not somebody that can swing trade anything. So
I added one back on here at the pivot,
nice.
trying to hold it. I also moved my stop up a little bit to 55.
The order flow with ES and NQ is, I guess, similar in that like there is enough that you can interpret it. I guess other than not like the Dow is for me. Um, Obviously, sizing is different. You know what is significant, what's not. But you watch the same thing. You watch people crossing the spread. You watch bid delta, offer delta, stuff like what we're seeing right now in this leg to leg that I have up. This leg to leg delta profile. You have a bunch of bid delta down here, and you have a bunch of offer delta up here, which means people are crossing the spread to buy, and down here people were crossing the spread to sell. And either this is just going to bounce back between the two, and this is where prices agreed to hang out for now, or this is going to, one of these folks is going to lose and price will go higher or price will go lower. So just looking at that delta stuff, order flow stuff in general, is just like it's all about honing in, finding the inflection point, and figuring out how to, get a trade on with some sort of edge. Do you want to switch to your screen, Elias? We can see how your trade has been
Sure.
panning out.
You see my screen?
Yep. Beautiful.
Yeah, so I was looking at, all this aggressive bid right here in the 80 to 87 range. And
Yep.
now we're trying to hold above it. So if those, you know, if those bidders get going, I think we have the potential to, at least tag prior day close. I think that's a good logical target, possibly even IB high.
Yeah.
But that 120 area has been a little rough. So I want to take two off at the prior day close, and then, we'll see what happens with the other two. See, now what I like about these tools is, when I have a print like this, there's 310 sellers kind of got stuck right there. So when I have a
Yep.
print like that, it kind of gives me more confidence, at least maybe not, for adding or for longer targets, but that my position is kind of safe.
Yeah.
Because if we come back down here, depending, a lot of the times those people will want to get out depending on what happens, and my position's kind of protected. That's how I look at it. Doesn't always work out that way, clearly, but I've always used liquidity zones for that.
Yep. It's good. Just for me, when I see them, it's good. Like you said, affirmation that like you're on the right side of the micro trend or whatever we're trying to capture in the moment. We're on the team that's winning for now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. What is the current delta profile anchored from? This is a 60-point rotation. So let's see. I guess it's anchored from this
Oh baby,
swing low down here at 20,008.
this 095 is partying so hard right now.
Yeah.
Someone just put 150 lots on. There's 50 still behind it. We'll see. We'll see if they see what they're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah. It's one thing I'm really trying to do, at least for the stream, is not to micromanage my trades too much. So if I have a target in mind that I think
Oh
is a
my
logical
goodness.
target, I'll kind of let it run there.
This dude's loading up. This is wild.
There's a battle there going on.
Oh yeah. 859 lots he got off. We'll see if
Oh,
they chase him out. That was a lot of size.
hmm? They're trying
Let's
to
go,
hold it
baby.
though.
Yeah, they are.
Here we go. Pushing.
Nice. That's cool. So that's a good example of what we look at just from, order flow and delta interaction is um, there was somebody on the offer for a lot of size for NQ, 850 lots, I guess it's 960 between those two strikes. Um, he got filled and buyers wanted to keep pushing and they're stacking the bid behind him too. So
I just took one off there at 100 just in case. And now I'll move my stop up below this little swing here.
Hey Stowe, wasn't there two single prints this morning? I don't think so. If they did exist, they were filled. I don't know. Elias, were there single prints this morning?
I don't know.
I mean, we're inside. Yeah, we're inside of the IB, so they would have been
I
filled.
was I was just so happy to have a good trading day. I wasn't paying attention to them. I was
Yep.
just riding the moves, you know.
Yeah. Today's also a day where the overnight high and the overnight low had broken, which is one of those stats that haunts me.
That's a rare occurrence. And it's funny because typically, I mean, for the past, I think 2 or 3 years that I ran that stat for, Wednesday was the highest probability day of that happening. But this year, I mean, this year since about November through now, it's been happening more often on Thursdays. Still not a common occurrence, but
Interesting.
yeah,
Maybe that's why Thursdays have my number.
maybe. Those are the days I prefer though, where there's good two-way range,
Yeah.
nice rotations in both directions.
Oh, dude, you're much better at flipping directions like that. You're much better at resetting your bias and finding a new trade.
Sometimes,
I still struggle with that so a lot. So
sometimes, not always.
okay, come back, test the sky.
Watching this spot. If we get too far below this guy,
Yeah.
I may just cut my position because he could get angry.
Now the pivot's on our side. We'll see if it'll be friends with us.
Let's see.
Still feels good.
Yeah, nice little move out of there. I didn't see anything that gave me an indication to add
Yeah.
when we came in there, except for that chunk of delta that's there. But nothing in
Yeah.
the moment, order flow wise, told me that I should put anything on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I personally try to be really cautious around um, people doing a bunch of business like this. Like
Yeah.
obviously somebody's with 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 more capital and more everything that we have right now is trying to accomplish something. So this is kind of like, if I wasn't already in a position, I certainly wouldn't use this trader, whoever is doing this, as an inflection point until we move away from him. Because you never know the intention behind the trade, even when you do see, order flow around it.
Yeah, this is said if we get too far below him, he's gonna start accelerating.
You do not, Leo. You do not ape short. You think to yourself that you want to, but and that's it. Yeah, Brian, you're right. Relatively narrow overnight range in balance. That also leads to both overnight high and overnight low breaking. So that stat should have um, an asterisk on it. Have I done any of that stat work? Absolutely not. No clue.
See if this liquidity zone holds.
Yeah, we're also testing the anchored VWAP from that last low down in the 210s.
Yeah, this might have been a mistake to get back in this trade. But we'll see.
Check the chat here. Hey, Anthony's here. What's up, buddy? Firmament did not get wrecked today. That's great.
That's always good.
Nick's rooting for the push.
So am I, buddy. So am I.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna get me.
Woohoo! Staying alive.
Be a miracle. There it goes. All right, time to sit back and reevaluate here.
Yep. I've still got mine. My stop's at 43. My original entry is 54 on that ad.
I'm gonna switch back to yours.
Yeah, I think we did.
Oh,
Yep,
we
they did. Let me switch this. So yeah, this point of control here, this is where all of that this is where that big seller was at. And we just went ahead and we traversed this little value area here. It's kind of a node with like another leg down here. So I don't know. They could push into this, stop these folks out, and then head back up. Some offer hitting the tape for sure.
That guy's on a mission.
He is.
Whoever he is.
It's just the cabal. This is part of the cabal. I am going to get ready to jump back in this if they run it and if that previous day low holds. This is also the weekly open here at 050. Another amazing piece of MGI that Leo discovered and then shared with everybody. And now, you all have no excuse for not trading it.
Weekly open is one of those levels that provides a lot of opportunity often.
Okay, we're going to run this and then let's see. Get some bid. And try again. Come on, Mr. Bid. Where you at, bud? I should move this view up. All right, so I'm going to anchor this up here. $45.02. So what I'm trying to do here is just see if the bid decides to hold this previous day low and step back in. Because they're absorbing. So now we just need some follow through. Come on, Mr. Bid, be somebody. All right, took one off at 10. And a 45, we'll take one off at 65. Tighten this baby up. Cool.
Nice.
Oh, looks like we got a delta flip too. So these are all good reversal signals. Came down, messed with this little LVN here, and then flipped back around. We can see on the tape we've got these highlighted blues, which are buyers crossing the spread, which means they're hungry. Okay, cool. I'll take this other one. It's this anchored view up from the high in case it's going to serve as resistance. I've been playing a lot with anchored view ups lately, just to kind of give context to the other side of my trade while I'm in it. So like if that 0.95 short was actually a short, then this view up will give me an idea of a good retracement spot where if I'm in a counter trend trade, I can take profit there.
You take counter trend trades too?
Sometimes, well, I often don't know that I'm taking one until it's over. If that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
That's the best way to describe it. It's just like every trade I take, I think I'm taking with the trend, but I'm probably wrong about 50% of the time, if not more.
What time frame are you looking at when you define the trend?
Oh, I mean, it could be anything. Like if we're bouncing around, I'm more looking at trend based on volume profile, I guess. It's so like in this trade idea, I'm trying to lean long off of the weekly open because if we're above the weekly open, I try to stay bullish. If we're below it, I don't try to stay bearish, but I think maybe you should be cautious. But we're above the 5-minute OR mid. We are above the RTH open. We're above the weekly open. So I'm leaning long based on my rules. And then I try to think about, what kind of structure exists already that we could be retracing around. Right now we're just in this bell. So I try to take some longs at the bottom of the bell, get to the middle. But it's possible that the top of the bell is going to push us all the way down. I mean, there's a lot of folks down here still. This isn't like a super clean taper. There's 70 points from value to the IBL. So
Do you ever look at the slope of VWAP?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, that's a big thing too. So right now it's super leveled out, and that's the other reason I like these bands. I'll zoom out so you can see them fully. So these blue bands here, the top is -1 and -2 standard deviations from RTH VWAP. Then the top is +1 and +2. And when these are both extremely flat like this, that tells me that, you know, we're kind of balanced, especially if they're compressing too. That signals that we're kind of in a balanced zone. So I try to pick one side of that if I'm going to trade the edges. And then that's when I apply rules like, are we above this? Did we do this? Obviously, this 210 buyer was doing some work today, so that's why I chose to get that on. And but like I said, I could be wrong because we went up to that anchored VWAP from this last rotation high, and we kicked back off of it. So I got to be prepared to be wrong too. But some days, I mean, maybe we'll get a trend day someday, Elias, that will still be in at 2:30. I find that they're mostly over by the time we're on this stream, but you can tell you're in one when like the slope of VWAP is going to be. Let me get my hands in the thing. They're going to be like this or like this. That also helps me not take counter trend trades unless I'm really excited about an idea.
The probability of me being in a trade from the morning until 2:30 when we go on stream is near zero.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd have to win a pretty serious coin flip to still be in a trade.
Could be a goal though. Something to shoot for.
Omni, don't full port copy trade me. Please, nobody do that. Yeah. My only advice is I'm a really good fade, and you should all just remember that.
So someone's asking, what is your typical R ratio you go for in each trade? I typically, depending on my sizing, I would try to get half of my position off at about 1 to 1.5 R, and then hold the rest for 2, 3, 4. You know, sometimes I get lucky and I have one contract that runs for, 5 or 6 R, and I'm very happy with that. Like overall, my overall position average tends to be just under about 1.8, 1.75 R, which I'm
It's
pretty
amazing.
happy with.
Yeah. Um, I do the same. You know, I talked about my bracket before. That's kind of programmed to be 1.5 profit factor bracket if they all hit. So that's my baseline when I enter a trade. And you know, it's not perfect. Also, I add to those and I adjust that based on the volatility of the day. And like here, I'm only in my last contract out of 4. And you could, so I've moved this to be a 4R trade. I'll get stopped out -10 points, or if I make it all the way back to that, I should actually move that down a little bit. If I make it all the way back to that initial seller, then that's 40 points. So that's a 4R trade. And the point is just like, I don't know, to be cognizant of that and just make sure that you're putting yourself in positive risk reward scenarios over time so that you don't end up in a place where you're getting a 0.9 profit factor with a 55% win rate, because that is not a fun place to be. That equity curve looks like this. Just flat, and then only your broker wins.
For sure. Someone's asking, do you calculate your OFL indicators on the same time frame as a displayed chart, or do you use a higher time frame? That, for me personally, that depends. The more like the delta map, which is the coloring of the bars and the delta flip measure, I personally use the same time frame as what's displayed on the chart,
Mhm.
so everything lines up better. You can use a different time frame, but some of the bars won't paint correctly. You will get the signal, like the delta flip signal in the right place, but the coloring might be off because you're not looking at the same number of bars. But for things like liquidity zones in particular, I use a higher time frame. So my execution chart is 200 volume. Um, actually, my mistake. That's for NQ. For MNQ, I use 750 volume for my execution chart, and then the liquidity zones, I double that because I want to capture absorption over a little bit higher of a time frame than my candle chart that I'm executing off of, if that makes sense.
That's cool. That's a great
You know,
idea.
I don't want too many prints. I want them to be more meaningful, so I raise the time frame on those. Liquidity zone is basically a configurable size zone where a certain amount of delta accumulates. And the way I have it set up is when we move away a certain number of points, I think I have it set to like 30 points, it will print that zone, kind of signifying that there are trapped buyers or sellers there. And a lot of times when we come back and revisit that zone, we'll get a reaction out of it.
Yep. And the great thing about the OFL tools is that they are, I mean, we all use different settings. And that's just from, personal preference, because every trader has their own style, their own thing that they're trying to look for. And you can really dial in and automate the settings that you would be looking for. Whereas like, I don't know, like
Tell
with
Leo
a,
they're sorry.
um, yeah, don't tell Leo that they're trapped. The trap traders is an interesting descriptor of a trade that may or may not be accurate, but that's what we call it because that's what it's always been called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I forget what I was saying.
Just FYI, Stowe, I'm in the exact same trade and the exact same size as you, but I have one tick better of an entry. So I am winning. Just want to let that be known.
Where's your profit target? I need to move mine a tick beyond.
Uh 20,220. I'm going for broke. I'm going for new highs a day.
New high a day? Okay,
Why
cool.
not? Why not?
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna get 40 points and then we'll switch to your screen once this
No,
begins to zero back up.
I mean, we held that low again, the prior day low.
Mm-hmm.
We had some, accumulating selling down there again. Why not?
Yep.
If that doesn't break, we got to go somewhere. So if we do get back above the 80s, 90 area, then I'll move my stop up into some profit.
Oh, look,
This is fun.
Leo's
It's
going to give you $100 if we make new highs. Everybody saw it. This is
all right. I'm gonna hold you to that, man.
this is it's been typed in the chat, so
Actually,
it's official.
you know what? What I would prefer is a nice OFL hat
That's true.
that I could wear on stream. I that's worth $100 to me. I don't wear hats.
Ooh,
But
there you go.
nice. They're pushing.
That's the best part about time and sales is once you've been watching it for a very long time, you don't need to look at it, but you just see, you're just like, whoa. You see when buyers step in and it kind of snaps your attention. Joe, please move your pivot. Yes, the hats are sick, but please move this pivot. We got new highs to get. I want to see Leo lose $100.
So I really don't have any structural reason to move my stop up. So I'm just gonna let this ride. What I'd like to see is a run up into the 110, 120 area and then a back test of the 80, 90. Then I'll move my stop under that low. Otherwise, just let this go.
More business, more business.
Well,
that was a big shot at 90.
we're running up against that guy again.
Yeah.
That guy.
All right, flat. Woo! Let's go.
Nice. Get those
Nice. I
sound
got the
effects,
woohoo.
man.
All right, switch back to Elias so we can get to new highs.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm adjusting my take profit. All right. We up?
There you go.
So what I wanted to see before was, to tag up the prior day's close and potentially close green on the day. Still, what initially got me entered was still valid.
Yeah.
So I actually got in when this happened. I didn't get in over here. It looks like it, but I didn't. I got in here and I just kind of started layering in and I took some off near VWAP and
There's
yeah,
also
just
this.
holding this.
We look at I know you and I both look at this, and I haven't figured out how to get it onto my NinjaTrader book, but the EU 30-second opening range is up here from 110 to 120 ish,
Mm.
roughly. So that was that previous rejection spot. I always mark those. I find them to be good context of what Globex was doing. I don't know. I know you use those too. Why do you like this?
But yeah, I've noticed that there's sometimes a trade in the morning when we're far away from the EU opening range.
Mm,
As we're coming into EU close, so like around between 11:30 and noon Eastern, that's a good target. It's a good area to target
yeah.
for me
Yep.
because I notice that a lot of times we revert back to that area right around the Euro close. Depending, I mean, it's like everything else. It's not something that happens all the time, but happens often enough that I put it on my chart. Um, I want to look at real quick. This is something that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to talk about today
Okay.
with the on the higher time frame. We have these balance areas that are marked out for us by the OFL auto plot tool. And I do something different. I know a couple of guys have shown this on stream, and I wanted to show something that I do differently. I have this inner shaded area, which
Yeah.
is that is the composite value of the balance area. And then I also have the
Okay.
high and low. So I differentiate those two because I found that often we'll have situations like this where, we make a low, we come back into the composite value and we'll hold it. So that's like a secondary piece of context for me. If we're holding the top of the composite value, there's a chance that we will come back up to test the highs and
That's cool,
potentially
man.
break out.
I'm gonna look
So
at that.
I don't know of anyone else using that. So just want to put that out there. It's a good
Secret sauce. You're welcome.
heard it
You're
here
welcome.
first.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
Eh,
That's so
okay.
cool. That's
I
how I've
back
come up with
tested the 80. Let me
every
move my
dumb
stop
idea I've
up
ever
here.
had. Was just hearing little snippets like that from folks and being like, oh wow, that's interesting. Let me look at that. And then that can often lead to another idea, and then that leads to another idea. So
Leo says it won't happen today.
well, he's got money on the
Well,
line, so he's probably making phone calls.
I mean, the high is 142. That's not that far away. That is where I'm going to put my take profit. 42.
Yeah, running this resistance up here would be nice. That would be very nice.
Well, actually, no, we went higher than that today. What's our current?
Current high, we got all the way to 200.
Huh. Well, it's a good thing that's not a bet. I guess I'm not getting a hat. But let's do it anyway. What time is it? We got 40 minutes.
We got 40 minutes. 100 points at 40 minutes. It's a race. No, it's not. It's not a race.
The probabilities just decreased significantly for me. Are you in a trade? Or are you just chilling?
Nope. I'm just chilling.
You're not gonna fade me here. We're not gonna do friendly fire.
No, certainly not. I will do friendly fire if I believe that I should be doing something, but no, I'm not gonna fight this. I'm not gonna fight this bid because it's partying. It's holding the previous day low.
It is partying.
It held the overnight low. It's trying to party.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't. It's possible we can make a new high a day, but probably not. I think 140, 150 is a good target.
Just even the IB.
So-
Just even getting back to 120.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we had our. Yep, we had the IB break.
I mean, we're back over that guy, so
12:15. Also that. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We're cooking now.
Ice.
Leo's sweating.
We're gonna make a new high in the next 40 seconds, not minutes. He's gonna ship it to you. It's gonna be pennies.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll have to eat that shipping cost.
Let's see if let's see if that is exhaustion or gets some follow through up there because we do have an exhaustive bubble.
We got a liquidity zone print right there where that guy was, so I will trail my stop up a little bit.
Nice, right under that. Yep, that's another great use of liquidity zones. If you're in a trade and they're in your favor, just tuck yourself behind that and see how long you can stay on sides.
Streaming is so much fun, man.
Right? I knew you were gonna like it.
Stream every single trading day. I'm 2 for 2 on stream, man. This is great. Is it you or is it the stream or is it me? Who knows?
It's not me. I promise.
I thought we were like good luck charms or something.
Yeah, I mean, it might be you because every time I trade with XY, I get smoked. So I don't even think he's in here today to tease.
That's because the Versace is distracting.
Yeah, I'm blinded by
The bling.
handsomeness.
I thought Elias was like 20 based off of his Twitter profile. That picture is actually from when I'm in my 20s. No lie. It's funny because I got on Twitter like back when Twitter first, when social media was first coming online and MySpace and all that. I got on Twitter and I thought it was just going to be like everything else, Facebook and everything else where it's just like kind of you connect with your friends and whatever. And I never used it until I started trading. Never used it at all until, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. It's funny. So I never bothered to change my profile stuff too much.
Yeah, good point. You're catfishing your Twitter followers.
Did I have an AOL account? No, I never had an AOL account. I had MySpace. Back in my day, it was IRC was the big thing.
Okay. I remember
Anybody
ICQ.
knows what that
Do
is?
you remember that one?
I didn't have that. I'm aware of it, but I didn't have that.
Okay.
ASL. Leo worked at AOL. Leo was a founder of AOL.
Yeah, his job. It was his idea to send all those CDs with free hours to everybody.
He was going to send me $100 worth of AOL CDs.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, let's see. If we hang out around this prior day close and buyers can kind of hold this area, like the top of value for the day, IB high. If we can kind of stay in here and hold this, I'll move up. I'll move up my stop somewhere up here for a potential another leg up. We have like
Yeah, so we
20,
kicked off
30 minutes.
this +1 standard deviation VWAP band, which is it's not great. I mean, we still got 30 minutes, but that's my top target.
MIRC, that's what I used back in the day. Everyone in the chat is buying right now. Keep buying, guys. Push me over over the 200s there so I can rock my OFL hat and $100 next time I stream. Now that I know you're not 20, I'm gonna follow Elias. What's wrong with being 20? I mean, I don't wish I was 20, but 20 was good. What asset is it? This is micro NASDAQ futures contract, MNQ.
That's true. ES is kind of ES is showing a little more promise. It's just kicking off its previous week high, but it's holding its IBH right now.
I think the best thing about the streaming is the chat. I love the chat. You guys are cracking me up.
Chat with me or all these strangers on the internet?
No, the chat, the live chat stream. Well, chatting with you too, you know, I mean, we talk pretty regularly,
This is
but
true.
we don't really trade together. Like this. This is a little different.
Yeah.
This is a little different. So
It's holding the close.
they're trying.
I don't know. I don't know where I heard this is my problem with Twitter is I'll see something, internalize it, and then think about it for a long time and then totally forget where I heard the thing. So if you're the person that told me this, fair enough. Somebody mentioned that like between the RTH open and the previous day close, they just view that as a chop zone. They don't look at that as any sort of actionable spot. They view that as indecision. So I don't know. I've always had that in the back of my mind. And it's interesting that we're building the pretty perfect bell distribution between the previous day close and today's RTH open.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've no tradable edge with that, but that just occurred to me.
You know, one thing I need to look into, and Jim talks about this quite a bit, is the candle closes, the importance of the candle closes. Like for him, a stat doesn't matter. If it wicks through a level, it doesn't count. He goes by a 30-minute candle close. And a lot of the old school, you know, like pit traders and people that have been trading for a long time put a lot of emphasis on daily closes, weekly closes, and that's something I want to look into more. You know,
I thought it was interesting.
What makes the close a candle close so much more significant than trading through a level?
Right.
Something I got to research. I got to put that on my list.
And it's kind of, I mean, I don't look at candle time frames at all, really. But what that made me think of when Jim said that was that's like a period close, right? Every 30. So if that period closes above or below X, is that something maybe to look at just from a auction market theory point of view?
But you know, the question is that is or is that not arbitrary? I mean, a daily close, maybe I can see as being somewhat more significant. But it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not to dismiss anybody's strategy or anything like that, but I'm thinking like, what is the significance of that period close happening at that particular time
Right.
in relation to the level that we're looking at? That's the part that I want to research. Like, what makes it significant?
Here's the turn. Back to test that liquidity zone.
They're gonna take me out. There goes my hat.
I mean, you got a bunch of points on that trade. That's probably a hat's worth of points.
Yeah, I mean, I lost. I gave up 50% of my unrealized profit if I get stopped out here. But
That's the balance with runners.
yeah, still a good day.
Yeah, amazing
I had
day.
a good morning and I, bumped it up a little bit here. So I'm happy, man. If would I have done this exactly the same way if I was trading not on stream? No, I wouldn't have. But I would have probably gotten out at the IB high. Leo jinxed me, he egged me on with the
I'm sure
side bet.
he called a market maker for sure.
He did. He did.
He would
Leo has connections.
absolutely he would spend thousands in bribes to market makers so that you would lose $100 for sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and switch back. So I'm done for the day. I'm gonna switch back to yours.
Cool. I'm gonna switch back to my chart, folks. Because I will buy I will buy 010 again. I will do it.
Oh,
Doesn't
10.
matter.
You think we're going down there?
Who knows, man? I don't know.
Who knows?
Um, that's the bottom of this distribution. So I'm just sticking to my rules, baby.
I think the candle closes work best in ID trading to show momentum. I don't think it's more significant pivots.
Kicking off the VWAP here. Another thing I do with VWAP is if this is the slope, like up here, +1 is at 124, -1 is at 017. If that slope is flat like this, I don't initiate trades in VWAP. This is kind of VWAP right now is kind of like the point of control of this range for me. So I consider that to be the middle, and I don't mess with it. But if we're in a sloping trending environment, then I will look at VWAP for continuation trades with the slope, if that makes any sense. Oh, hey, Tracy. Yeah, yes. Super chop into the close here. Scalper's paradise. I hear that phrase a lot, scalper's paradise. And I don't feel like I've been in as much paradise as I should have been by now for all this scalping I've been doing. That might be a skill issue. I don't know.
Compared to the rest of the week, today is definitely more
Yeah.
like a paradise. How much percentage risk do you gents use? Too much, probably. If you look at it
In
on
my
a
cash account,
percentage basis.
I risk 1% usually. I'm
Oh
usually
yeah?
I'm usually betting like $120 a trade.
Yeah, I'm on the higher side. I usually will go to 3,
Oh man, we
sometimes
froze
up to
again.
5%.
This happened to me last week too. Elias, can we switch back to your screen real fast?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a little bit more aggressive typically. Like 2.5 is the norm, and up to 3.5, 4%, maybe
Yeah.
5 sometimes. But those are again like my typical trades are faster, and I'm taking the bulk of the position off at about 1 R, slightly over 1 R. Um, and my stats support trading that way.
That's
Does it
ultimately
bite
the
me?
most important
You
part.
know, does it bite me sometimes? Sure, but that's why we have daily loss limits, and as long as what's happening here. As long as I protect myself from the days that I'm off, over time, it's sustainable for me.
Right. That's
Loss limits
ultimately
are for losers. Huh.
what you have to. Who said
Well,
that?
the best loser wins. So just
Um,
put that out there. I'm gonna get back in here.
but if you know your profit factor and risk to reward ratio that you're shooting for, and then you can vary your trade size as far as like money risked based on that, and it will be you're just trying to prevent yourself from risk of ruin, and
Right.
um, you can use a Kelly formula for that. You can use all kinds of betting strategy stuff to figure that out.
Well, and again, we talked about that last week when we were on, about knowing your personal trading stats and how important that has been for me, because you can't make those decisions without knowing your win rate, profit factor, things like that over time, your most profitable and least profitable times a day, like when is the best time for you to press.
Yep.
All that stuff plays into how much, you can risk. I mean, a lot of us are trading with smaller accounts, and we tend to be over leveraged anyway. Um, so knowing that stuff kind of help you manage your bankroll and stay in the game longer.
Absolutely.
See, I said I wasn't going to take another trade, and I stopped streaming, and then you convinced me to get back on, and I get in a trade and I get stopped out. Stowe, what are you doing to me, man?
I don't know. Yeah, my stuff's just recalculating. I'm trying to buy this 17 as soon as I get my screen back.
17.
Yep. That's the bottom. Well, I'm not just going to blindly buy it, but that is the lower end of this range for me. That's that lower VWAP band. So
Okay.
if we puke down there and then reject it, then I'm going to try to ride that back to the middle.
Well, yeah. You guys
But
average down when it goes against you. Typically, no. When I add to positions, I like to add very near my entry. Sometimes I'll get into a position, it'll go against me, let's say halfway towards my stop. I feel more confident when I get a push back towards my entry with some momentum to add, nearer to that. A little bit above, a little bit below, whatever. It's fine. Averaging, you know, unless I'm working a very defined zone and I know where my outs are, I don't like to do that because it can get me in trouble. If I start averaging down into a losing position, I have the tendency when I do that to move my stop, and my risk becomes unwieldy. So as
yes,
a
that's a
rule,
slippery slope.
yeah, I try not to do that. I don't want to hit my DLL, my daily loss limit in one trade. I'd rather cut it, get back in if I see the conditions for it. Um, big thing about trading for me is accepting when I'm wrong, and accepting the losses. Like if I can't do that, I'm not going to survive.
It's very hard to do.
I haven't always been perfect. It's something that I strive to do day by day, but it's not easy. It's not easy letting my ego take the back seat and just responding to the market day in and day out.
Okay, you can switch back to mine. I'm back now.
Okay.
Stowe, explain to us what you're looking for when you're entering a trade. I'm looking for a reversal of some kind, or which means like in this, I'm looking for all kinds of stuff. But like if I'm going to get into, we can come down here. We'll see when they switch over to. Oh, I gotta hit. Yeah, I gotta share it again.
Oh, did I stop
Sorry,
sharing
Austin.
too
Sorry,
early?
Kevin. No, you're good. You're good. Okay, there we go. Okay, now you guys can switch. My bad. Yeah, maybe we will push down there. So right now, I'm looking at this area, 030s, 020s. Come down in here, 17, this overnight low, anywhere in here, looking for a push into it. And this is how I kind of use Delta Map. It colors the bars based on Delta dominance. And so what I'm looking for would be some red Delta coming in, and then I want to see that change to either neutral gray bars or blue, and then it's going to wiggle around a bit, and that's when you hop in when you see the wiggle.
The wiggle. What does the wiggle look like? Can you be more descriptive?
Well, it wiggles.
Clearly.
It's kind of like that.
Do it with your body.
Do it with your body. I can't. They want me to stay centered in the camera. I can't get out of the box.
Stowe wiggle.
I also use that set bracket as a way to not average down, to answer that question from my point of view. And if I add to that trade, sometimes it will add below the initial entry, but that stop stays where it's at. I will move a stop closer to entry, but I will not move a stop further away from the entry. And I'm not just saying that to explain it. I'm saying that as an affirmation to myself so that I don't ever do that. Because it's
the way
easy.
to survive, man.
It's easy to do.
That's the way to survive and be in this longer term.
Yep. That's it. Surviving is thriving.
For sure. And the way I look at it is, I follow a lot of traders on Twitter that have been trading a long, long, long time. And, the only way you get there is by continuing to be present in the market day in and day out. And the only way that I can do that is if I have capital to trade and I have to protect it.
Yep.
To protect it. We have to be in here long enough to learn the lessons that the market is going to teach us, and it never stops teaching.
Yes, there's lessons all around every corner, and most of them aren't very fun. I don't think there's ever been a good lesson. I was like, oh, that was nice. What a nice lesson to learn from the market today. I don't know if I've ever felt that way.
Well, you feel that way after you've learned it and
Yep,
when you
that's
apply
true.
it, but not when you're learning it.
Am I lining up entry with any candle formation on another screen? Nope. I do a lot of stuff going on. I got the chat. I got Elias. So I am looking around, but nope. I use 750 vol candles for everything.
How soon do you move to break even? Do you move to break even?
Nah, I never do.
I typically won't move to break even, but I will move my stop and profit on runners. If I have a logical reason to do so, like if I identify an area that I would like to see hold for continuation,
Yeah.
then I'll move my stop up like just below that area. Like I did earlier, when I was in that trade, I moved my stop up to somewhere around 80 because I figured if we go and break below that, we're going to go lower. So I'll find a spot like that where I can tuck my stop, where I've made, a little bit of reward on the trade. And then I'll continue to trail up if it continues in my favor. But that's really only for runners.
Yep. And to be fair, I don't really end up with a runner very often. It's extremely rare. Like I took my profit at that 0.95 and was just done. Um, that's typically why I don't move my stops to break even or into profit ever. It just doesn't really come up. How do we decide on our TP? I'm just thinking about risk to reward usually. So I'm basing my target prices on, how much risk do I have on what's going to help my profit factor, what's going to keep my profit factor in line with my win rate target, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just nerdy profit factor stuff. I'm not using anything else. It's very boring.
That's similar to me for my first profit, but beyond that, beyond the first scale, I will typically look for just logical areas that I think could be retested.
Yep.
Mostly MGI levels. Like before I was targeting the prior day close because I just figured, yeah, it makes sense that if we're getting above and we're moving up, that would be a spot that would be likely to be touched.
Yeah,
I
I
also
just
use, volume profile, LVNs,
yeah, that's true.
areas of delta concentration, different things that are, beyond the 1.5 to 2R range that are
Yeah.
just spots that would, make sense that they would be retested.
I guess I use that stuff when I'm setting up the trade to see if there is enough reward on the table to even put the trade on. I'm kind of looking at those things ahead of time. Like I'm not going to get this trade. I highly doubt they're going to go down there again. But if I was able to buy 018 again, there's enough reward on that to get back to the point of control for me to get my entirety of my trade off. So I kind of have that in my mind already as I'm waiting for this trade. The other reason I use a set bracket too is it's like trading order flow is like a lot to think about. Just in general, it's like you're looking at delta, you're looking at time and sales, you're watching 2 or 3 markets at a time, trying to stay calm and look for patterns, trying to execute correctly. So I'm not trying to math out, what should my risk be? What should all that stuff be in the moment? It's much easier if I can just rest assured that it's baked in and look for it like that.
See, that's funny because I do it afterwards.
Yeah.
I do it after. I'm looking for the reason to get in and then figuring out where I want to go. Because, yeah, that's just how I do it. But there's no wrong way, you know.
Yep.
As long as you
No,
think
I
about
mean,
it sometime
whatever
and you're not,
works.
yeah, you think about it at some point and you're not taking trades in random locations, and you can work something out for yourself. That's.
Oh, my cat needs let out of my office. 1 second.
The 50 algo. The 50 algo is going to run down to Stowe's 20018. Bounce back up 30 points before he can get in.
We go.
Guys, you guys watching, if you haven't already, you need to take a minute and like and subscribe.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Help us out with the algorithms.
Thumbs up in the chat, please.
We'd appreciate it. I only trade treasuries on bank holidays. That's probably when they move the fastest.
Fair.
I tried to trade bonds once. Nothing against anybody whoa, whoa.
James Bonds.
Nothing against anybody that trades bonds, but that is way too slow for me.
Everybody's calling me a boomer for trading the Dow one time, let alone bonds.
Trade oil. I dabbled in crude here and there. Look at that.
So we're gonna hold this G line.
If we close under the prior day low,
And drop my size down.
it's like we just fell off a cliff there.
Let's see. Okay, so like I was saying before, so we're running these stops right here, and I'm looking for touchdown into this. If I can reclaim the previous day low, then I'll definitely be down. I'll also get in down here too if we tag this value area low. I am in the 50 algo though. I didn't realize it was this late.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does, man. It really goes fast. Okay. What are you doing? How do you feel? There you go. There's some bid stepping in. I'll hit it. With half size there. Pull that up. Not great. All right. Scratch. So I will get out of a trade if it feels like garbage like that. We got sucked down into this lower VWAP band. There's a bunch of overnight low stops that could get run here. So instead of taking the full stop on that, which would happen at about 200, I got out here at the 10s. We can hop back in if we want to, but I'm never afraid to just get out. But that looked like garbage. It would be kind of strange to build this whole distribution and then close down here. Oh my. There's some folks. Oh, I lost the lies. Okay. I was wondering why nobody was talking to me. All right. Anything? First day here. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Capital Capitalist. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. It really does mean a lot. This is a ton of fun, but it's even more fun when you folks are all on board too. I'm really curious where this is going to close.
Sorry about that. I had to step away for a second.
No, all good.
Were you lonely?
I was a little lonely. Yeah, it was a long 30 seconds.
Did you take that trade?
Yeah. So I was explaining. I got in at the 16s and then immediately got slammed. I scratched out at 10. My entry was probably closer to the mid, but I scratched out at 10 instead of taking the full stop on that because it was just
Smart.
to the wall.
Yeah, it's a freight train there. It looks like.
Yeah, it's odd that I'm not trying to say they, but it's odd that price sell all the way down here without the ability to pop back out. So we'll see. Maybe that was just a really nasty sell.
They went right back to the
Yeah.
top of the value, the composite value of the balance area. It's
Interesting.
right here at 04 or
I gotta set that up.
It's also monthly VWAP is there, prior
Yep.
week's value area high is right there. It's a lot of higher time frame NGI in that spot.
Yeah. This could rip back to the point of control, but I'm not gonna take another stab in algo land.
Leo called his market maker friends to dump the market to save himself from sending me an OFL hat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 3:50 p.m. volatility occurs every day. I did know that. Also 3:55. I did know that.
Yeah. Yeah. The last 10 minutes are, I like to be flat in the
Yep.
last 10 minutes.
Jim, you coming in, homie? Watch the close.
I'm clicking all the buttons, buddy.
Cool.
We've got to click all the buttons on the Zoom machine here to get zooming.
That was a pretty good day. I'm happy with those trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
job, Elias. That was good.
Likewise, man.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job, man. That's pretty awesome trading today.
Thank you, Jim. Golf clap.
It's a golf clap, they call it.
I don't know. That's what it sounds like. It sounded very polite and small, like you would do at a golf course.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Yeah, we got to get a better sound effect, man. We got to have a roar, like you just, like Michael Jordan entering the stadium to play in the finals. Oh my goodness.
You're welcome, Jay Robert. Thank you again. Thank you
Thank you for
everybody
being
for
on
watching.
here and watching us and participating in the chat. Makes this a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for the shout outs too, guys. Yeah, I mean, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Just click the button. You guys and you get in there. You can get in the chat if you want. It's good for everybody involved.
Yep.
Appreciate all you folks in the chat now.
It's nice to have a community vibe for this lonely job. Yeah, trading can be very lonely.
Is it gonna close at the overnight low?
Oh, that's key, man. You're on that, man. It's so key. Especially when you're not feeling it and you're kind of down. And you pop in here.
Oh yeah.
You pop into the chat, you pop into the community, wherever it is. I know I'm biased. We want you to be with us, but wherever you are. And it's like all of a sudden you feel better. Everybody has bad days.
I love having this show around. I watch it all the time. Like I watch it at night too. I'll go back and watch a segment that I missed because I was trading. It's awesome. It's a whole day's worth of really good trading content from all different kinds of traders. Everybody trades different on here, and that's how cool is that? You get to watch every kind of trader and actually see them trade. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like
when
having
we
it
talked
on
about
throughout the day.
We talked about this earlier today. I can't remember for you guys or before that. It's been a long day for me, but it's like I'm always learning something from everybody.
Yep, same. Absolutely.
Got a minute left, man. That power hour stat that I threw out is just about to get body slammed.
Yeah, what? Yeah. I understand. I know the monthly VWAP is right here, but just from a profile standpoint, it's nasty close at the lows. Not that it means anything, just from an interesting level.
Well, I think,
Yeah,
if we get a solid close back in that composite value
Oh
and
my.
below the roll gap,
Yeah.
there's a chance that we may go down and test prior week's value area low. We're accepting back into that range. And I think, is that, Jim, is that what, like, kind of what a close signifies for you, is kind of like acceptance?
when it
Yeah,
closes
Jim.
at the bottom of the candle.
Yeah. Like when a candle closes inside of a range or above or below a level.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think in terms of who's in control of the market, is it buyers or sellers? And when we have a candle that closes at the low, the sellers are still in charge, and something could change that. But until something changes that, I'm going to assume the sellers are still in charge. Now,
Right.
tomorrow's a good example we have that PCE number coming out at 8:30, and personal consumption expenditures, and that's a monthly number. That's different than the one that's in GDP.
Okay.
Um, and it's not a survey. It's based on sales receipts and all this other stuff that the Bureau of Economic Analysis gets their hands on.
Okay.
So it's kind of real data, as opposed to a survey. So uh, a fan favorite, a Chair Powell and Company. So if we had surprises there, one way or the other, which I don't expect we will, but we could. If especially in core PCE, um, we're looking at a consensus at 0.3%,
Okay.
which, if it's around there, then it's going to be okay. But you never know.
I know you watch these newsprints a lot. Have you noticed the insane volatility that's been around consumer sentiment the last month?
Hmm.
Um, that newsprint was never that important before, and it's fun because I don't really watch those for any sort of economic context. I just watch them for market reaction. I
Yeah.
mostly know to be out of the market, but man, those consumer sentiment numbers have been sending the market these last couple months.
Yeah. And we have, I think, Michigan, go Wolverines. Michigan consumer sentiment is tomorrow, too.
Okay, there you go.
It's funny. It's kind of, I was listening to a guy in Bloomberg Surveillance this morning, pretty early, and he was going, yeah, a sentiment is way down, but customer behavior is still, people are still spending.
Yep.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I have folks in my house. I know.
Yeah, those Amazon boxes, they don't stop showing up for anybody, do they?
No, they don't.
No, no, I know. It's like cardboard management. That's my weekend. It's like, how do I handle all this cardboard?
Same. Yep. All right. Same page. Yep.
Cut those. I got box cutter, like, what do you call them? The blades. I buy them by the dozen.
All
Anyway, well,
right.
great job, you guys. I appreciate being on here. Hopefully, you guys have great weekend plans. I know we're not streaming tomorrow afternoon, so there'll be no trading to close tomorrow afternoon. But hopefully, you guys have great weekends.
You too,
You too,
man.
Jim. Appreciate
Thank you
you,
so
man.
much, buddy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Looking forward to seeing you guys here. You're here next weekend, right? Next week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. All right, all right. Well, thanks for coming, guys. We're gonna wrap this up really quickly here, and wow, that's a funky looking screen you got. Oh, I don't have a screen share up. That's okay. We must be looking at an old screen. There we go. No worries. There's really nothing to cover at this point. Keep an eye on Dr. Copper. We had just a tremendous retracement back down based on that uh, pretty awesome looking gravestone doji a couple of days ago. We're still hovering around Jax 1 on the E-mini S&P, pretty close to 5750 that is what Jax 1 is. We're just a little bit shy of that. So tomorrow we'll see if we get any more trade lift to the upside. Thanks for being in the chat, everybody. Kaz, it's good seeing you. Mielo, have a great night. Thank you for saying good night. These are some of my old folks, the old community. Firmament, good to see you. Sergi, thanks everybody for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to the YouTube channel. We're going to be going at it bright and early tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We're going to finish strong. A lot of stuff going on tomorrow morning, especially with that PCE and Michigan sentiment. Leo the Tiger, see you, buddy. Thanks for all your great help this week. Always a pleasure talking to you. All right, guys, having said all that, listen, you guys have a great evening also, and we will be back. Remember, most important message of the day, please be safe out there and be good to each other. Thank you.